boy. Hi, Dick. I don't see you and I can't hear you.
I'm here.
Okay. How are
Can't see my pretty picture, but I'm listening.
Oh, good. And there's Linda. Hi, Linda.
Was that
Oh,
who's that young lady that just walked up here?
yeah, that's Linda. Yeah, Nate is running around like a nut, so I've got everything set up here.
Cool.
Sylvia, did our appointment slips get in there yet? You don't know. Okay, I'll talk to Linda later.
Are you talking about you and Al?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me check my file.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we certainly have it on the record. I mean, the email is enough, really. So we're good that way. How goes it in Candia?
They're going okay, somewhat.
Yeah.
It definitely is a new reality.
You're talking about with the pandemic.
Oh, yes. And the effects of the pandemic to the public activities.
Yes. Yeah, life is very different right now. Have you been watching we can still talk about this since it's only you and me. Have you been watching the Democratic National Convention?
I have not. I am uptight, out straight. I have not had time to, I'm missing paying bills. That's how bad it is.
Oh, that's bad. Well, we have, not that I typically am a watcher, but it's been really very interesting and such a different way for the convention, and with glimpses across the country and I think my favorite day was Wednesday, where they took the tally, and it was fascinating. They took these mini visits to every single state and territory, and it was just really, really wonderful to see all the people, and it just renewed my faith in the party.
Yeah, that's given a lot of people a lot of opportunities to do things that shouldn't be being done.
Well, the way they've done.
Not necessarily talking about the Democratic convention. It's the other.
No. Yeah, but they certainly have been recognizing all the wrongs, and it just renewed my faith in the Democratic Party. I liked it.
The whole thing is a challenge to our democracy. That's my concern. A real challenge.
Yeah, I'm very concerned. I think everyone is so concerned about this whole post office, sabotaging the post office the way they have. It's just criminal.
I guess we're watching history unfold.
We are, Dick. It's such a weird time, and it's almost like at the point where I'm just waiting for someone to tell us all that we have to get a chip under our skin, so that, will be the way through that we will vote and do our banking and everything because of this extreme measures to throw wrenches into the system. It's a sad state of affairs, I'd have to say.
Yes, it is.
And
I
there's
see
Nate.
Nate. Hi, Nate. How are you
Hey,
today?
how's it going, Dick?
I may be asking you guys, I'm seeing things up on my screen when you're doing presentations about files that are available. And I'm saying, I need copies of those presentations that were done to be able to sell them or convince people or hit them up the side of the head. So I maybe come in there one of these days to talk to you.
Well, they're always available on our website. If you go, Adam makes sure he puts all of the presentations on the website. So if you go to like transportation and then TAC, you would find all of that stuff.
I tried doing that, Sylvia, and I couldn't find what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's tricky. You know who you call, you email Adam and he'll walk you through it, or I can. Just let us know what you're looking for and we can walk you through because like I could share my screen and show you right now real quick. Do you want to go there while we're waiting?
That's all right. I'll spend the time to go and check again. But like that one,
Dick,
we
if you
had
want,
one that
you know what we can do is after the meeting, if you want to hang out for 5 minutes, I can walk you through it.
I'll check. We had that one where when Haddock from Chester was asking about the ability to get funding from the state for vulnerability. And I don't have that, and I don't think we recorded that. I don't think he did the record on the presentation. So
We're actually Colleen, does that have you starting us off or?
Yep, I'm here. I can start things. So Sylvia, if you need roll calls on anything, do you have the list to kind of do the roll call votes?
Yes, I have the list.
Okay. So I guess I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Do you want to read through the roll call? Or do you want us to just pipe in and say who's here?
Do you have the sheet that were the whole emergency thing?
Oh, yep, I've got that. So the chair of the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission has found that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, the SNHPC and committees thereof are authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. SNHPC is utilizing Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the committee have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting as follows. Online access is https USO2web zoom.us. Do you want to continue trying to read this website?
No, that's okay. We're
okay.
Good.
Telephone only access dial 646-558-8656, meeting ID 843-6670-8626. Instructions have been provided on the SNHPC website at www.snhpc.org. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting, please call 603-669-4664 or email mduchesne@snhpc.org. In the event that the public is unable to access the meeting, this meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled.
Okay, and we've just had Andrew Haddock join us. So, should we do roll call and the meeting minutes simultaneously, or it's what we do?
Sure. So why don't we, yeah, and I guess I'll do our attendance on who's here. So if we do take action on the minutes of July 16th, 2020, could I get a motion from someone on that?
Move to approve as presented. Candia, Mr. Snow.
Thank you, Dick. Could I get a second?
Bruce Thomas, I'll second it.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay.
All right, so is there any discussion or amendments or changes to the minutes? All right, there being none. So Sylvia, if you don't mind reading through the roll call of who's here and we can each vote.
Absolutely. Bedford, Mark Connors.
I don't think I was there, so I'll abstain.
Okay. Candia, Dick Snow.
Aye.
Chester, Andrew Haddock.
Aye.
Hooksett, Bruce Thomas.
Here,
Londonderry, Colleen Malone.
I'll abstain.
Abstain. Manchester, Jonathan Golden.
Aye.
Ware, Tom Clow.
Aye.
Lyndon Dusenberry from DOT.
Aye.
And Nancy Michaels.
Aye.
And Tim White
Yes.
from DES. And then we also, just to say, in the House, we have Paul Maloney from Federal Highway present.
Good morning.
And we have Dean Williams from Central Regional Planning Commission.
Good morning.
And then as far as staff today, we have Maddie Diano, Monique Duchesne, Adam Lasney, Nate, Zach, and myself.
And James Veo is in the room here, waving in the back of the camera.
Oh, sorry. Where is that? Oh, hi, James. Yeah, cool. Okay, up, and we have, looks like we're getting George from, there's George from Derry. Let's wait a second so he can be. George, good morning. I wonder, we just took a motion on the minutes and you have to unmute yourself. If you could do the old yes to Derry Dioris.
Yes. Yes.
There we go. We got you in. Yay.
Right, so I guess first up then is Nate. It looks like you have a 10-year transportation plan presentation.
I do, and normally Sylvia is here to help me figure out how to put that up on the screen. So I'm gonna click on share screen, and then
Yes.
look at that. Okay, hey, that's easier than I thought. All right,
Oh, good for you. You did it.
I'm telling you.
I'm so proud.
Can everybody see a slideshow?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. It not like in the slides on the side version, but the full screen slideshow.
Now we see on the side.
Slide. Oh. Okay. I think I have to do it this way. All right, let's try this. I knew there was a trick to this. How about that? Full screen slide?
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I think we'll just call it a meeting there. I figured that out. We're good to go now. I'm surprised that I made that work. So yes, let's. We've got a lot to cover today with a few different agenda items, but why don't we dive right into the 10-year plan process? I know we talked in the last meeting in some detail about criteria weighting, but I thought it was appropriate to give everybody kind of an overview of where we're at in the 10-year plan process and what the schedule is looking like and all of the kind of logistical items. So let's see if my screen advances, which it doesn't want to do at the moment. Oh, there we go. Okay. So just as a reminder, we work with our partners at different regional planning commissions around the state, as well as our partners at New Hampshire DOT under 2 different state laws that govern the 10-year plan, those being RSA 228-99 and RSA 240. So each of the 9 regions, including our region, each of the 9 regional planning commissions solicits projects from their municipalities, and then through a regional process prioritizes those projects. Each region sends their priorities into the Department of Transportation at the state level, and that helps to form the basis of the draft 10-year plan. So we do that update process every 2 years. And this update that we're in right now will cover fiscal year 2023 to 2032. Pretty amazing that we're looking all the way out in the future to 2032, but we are. So I showed this slide every cycle. Some of you are probably tired of it, but I think it tells a good story of how, you know, the different planning efforts that we have in the region work together. So looking at the bottom of this slide, we have our long-range transportation plan that looks out 20+ years into the future, into the long-range needs of the region from a transportation perspective. Those long-range plan priority projects help to feed what we put in for 10-year plan consideration. So the 10-year plan is a state requirement, not a federal requirement, as you see there on the right. So we go from kind of the 20+ year time period of the long range plan into a 10-year time period for the 10-year plan. And then effectively our TIP, which is a federal requirement, effectively in New Hampshire is largely the first 4 years of the 10-year plan. So through that process from the long range plan to the TIP, we move from concept to construction. But in New Hampshire, when something enters the 10-year plan, then effectively it means that there is funding programmed for that project, and there's a commitment at the state level to see that project forward to construction. So entering the 10-year plan is a milestone. By the time something makes its way to the TIP, it's largely advanced towards construction, and so that's kind of how these things work together. I know we talk about our TIP and we talk about the 10-year plan and we talk about our long-range plan, but this slide kind of shows how they all fit together. So for this 10-year plan cycle, just like 2 years ago, New Hampshire DOT has allocated $50 million statewide for regional projects. And that $50 million is divided up through, between the 9 regional planning commissions of the state based on a formula that is 50% the federal aid eligible lane miles within each region and 50% the population of that region. So when those numbers are crunched, the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission's portion of that $50 million allocation is $8.554 million. We have the largest allocation in the state largely because we have the largest population in the state. So our higher population drives that figure. And so 8.55 million may look familiar to you because it's exactly the same amount of money that we programmed 2 years ago in the 10-year plan, 8.55 million. So nothing has changed. Basically the amount of funding that we're programming is exactly level with what we did 2 years ago. Just like 2 years ago, engineering review is continuing to be required as for any projects that are proposed to enter the 10-year plan. That's for scoping and cost estimating purposes, just to make sure that we have the most defensible possible cost estimate going into the 10-year plan. So within our region, we have used an on-call engineering consultant for this purpose. For the past 2 years, it has been VHB. Our contract with VHB expired June 30th. So we had basically a 2-year agreement with VHB that expired June 30th. So now we are in the process of, we have released a new RFQ for on-call engineering that has been out for the past few weeks. In fact, the due date is, it's been out for about almost a month now. The due date is tomorrow, and we've already received some responses. So by the end of the day tomorrow, we'll have a complete picture of how many firms have responded to that RFQ. You may remember a few months ago that the TAC has appointed a small subcommittee to work with our staff to review and score the proposals from the different engineering firms and conduct any interviews if necessary. So that subcommittee, I believe, is Colleen, George, Dick Snow, and Bruce. So thanks to all of you again for your willingness to serve in that capacity, and you will be hearing more from me soon because the due date is tomorrow, and I expect in the final hour of business tomorrow, I will be receiving a few different proposals. We've already received one. I expect more to be on the way, and we should have a decent handful to review and evaluate. Project evaluation criteria. We largely have focused on this for the past, at the last TAC meeting, so I won't go into a lot of detail. You all know that each region utilizes the same criteria, but weights those criteria differently based on the unique needs of the region. We finished that process in July and ended up with this. So you may remember we had a big discussion about freight movement, and we moved freight movement from 3.73% to 5.73%, up 2%, and proportionally reduced all of the other criteria accordingly. So this is what the final weighting looks like after we crunched all of those numbers. I won't go line by line through this because that's what we focused on last meeting, but just as a reminder, these are the weightings that we arrived at through that process for this cycle. So our 10-year plan solicitation went out at the end of July. So we did send correspondence to all of the 14 municipalities in our region, asking them to review the projects that are currently on the 10-year plan and consider 3 questions. And these are the same 3 questions that we always ask communities to consider, which is, are there any new projects needed for inclusion in the 10-year plan? Are there any projects currently on the 10-year plan that are no longer needed? And are there any projects currently on the 10-year plan that should be advanced, delayed, or revised in scope or cost? So, like I say, that correspondence went out at the end of July. We have already heard back from a few of our communities with responses, and at least one community so far that I know is pursuing a potential project proposal. So responses to that correspondence are due on September 15th. So communities still have close to a month to consider how they're going to respond and whether they're going to propose any projects. We like I say, we put this out at the end of July, and we gave communities more than 6 weeks, almost 7 weeks to respond. So hopefully, your communities are thinking about that correspondence and considering whether or not you want to put something forward for 10-year plan consideration. If a municipality does want to submit a project for consideration, a project proposal form is required. And we, here in the 21st century, we did make an electronic version of this form, which is available at that link, and we included that link in all of our correspondence to the communities, so that they're aware that they don't, paperwork reduction sort of purpose, can fill that out electronically. There are also hard copy and PDF versions of the form that have been sent to all of the communities in the region with the 10-year plan correspondence. And we, as always, under our Unified Planning Work Program with New Hampshire DOT, we're always available to provide assistance to any community that needs assistance to put together to help scope a 10-year plan project, put together the project proposal form, gather data, query data, whatever assistance may be needed to help scope a project and prepare that form. our staff is ready, willing, and able to provide that assistance at no cost to the town. This is part of our Unified Planning Work Program for transportation planning. So always feel free to give us a call, and we can provide that assistance. Schedule-wise, as I mentioned before, we did send 10-year plan solicitation correspondence to all of the municipalities in the region at the end of July. And as we just mentioned, the responses are due September 15th. When we get those responses in during September, the second half of September, as well as October, we're going to be working with our new on-call engineering consultant, whoever that may be, to review, do engineering review for scoping and cost estimating purposes for those projects. And our first milestone is November 6th, which is when we are required to submit a short list, I'm calling it a short list, of candidate projects to New Hampshire DOT. So these are not our final regional priorities. This is basically a notice to DOT saying, hey, we're focusing on this short list of projects for this 10-year plan cycle, FYI. Over the course of a couple of months after that, New Hampshire DOT will internally evaluate those different projects that are on our short list and let us know if they have any questions or concerns about those projects. And then the final deadline for us to submit our regional priorities to the state is March 31st. So that's the way the schedule is looking at this point. Like I say, the first couple of milestones here are that responses are due for 10-year plan project submissions by September 15th. And then our short list is due November 6th. So there will be a lot more discussion on the 10-year plan to come, particularly in the month of October. So stay tuned on that. Any questions about kind of the logistics of this 10-year plan cycle and what our approach is and what our schedule is and all of that good stuff? Any questions? Does that all make sense?
Hey, this is Paul Maloney. With a date of March 31st, getting the priorities to the state, typically what does that mean for a draft STIP to be developed? Can you answer that, or maybe Linda?
So I can advise on that, and Linda can confirm. So that this 10-year plan that we're looking at is 2023 to 2032. So the draft STIP that's coming out is...
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm back. I've got the dates back, yeah.
Yeah, the draft STIP that's going to be coming, the STIP update that will be coming in the next few months is based on the 2021 to 2030 10-year plan, which just got signed into law a few weeks ago.
Yeah, all right, thank you for the clarification. Sorry about that. I'm going to claim newbie on that.
Any other questions on 10-year plan? That all makes sense then? Okay. Well, I will yield the floor back to you, Colleen.
All right, and I just lost so next, Carl is up, the public participation plan.
It's actually going to be Monique. Monique
okay.
Duchesne in our office is gonna lead this part of the agenda. Carl is out today and tomorrow, but thankfully we have Monique here to step in and review the public participation plan.
Just a quick question, Colleen, for our communities before we dive into the public participation plan. I just wanted to ask all the communities present, do they feel that there's any need of assistance in additional outreach, or do we all feel that the 10-year plan solicitation is fine the way it is? I just wanted to make sure. There's so much going on that I just want to make sure communities are aware about this solicitation. The timeline is so short. So just wanted to sort of check in with everyone, see if there's anything else we should do, or yeah.
So personally, for Londonderry, I know we received it. We have a couple of us that are tasked with reviewing it and getting a response back. So I think you guys have done, in my mind, an excellent job of making sure the email and the solicitation in the paper versions got into the right hands.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
Jerry, George, I would agree with Colleen, same thing for us. So I would say, yeah, it's been good.
Okay, well, all right, unless anyone else.
I think I see Mark Connors. Mark.
Just a quick question. I think I read in the form that you don't have to have your town council, your selectmen sort of endorse it by September 15th. Is that right?
Yeah, we'd want an endorsement by the time we ended up submitting it as a priority. But yeah, if timing wise, if there's concurrence within the community to proceed with a project application, but you haven't been able to get the formal endorsement yet of the council, we wouldn't necessarily consider that to be, that's a timing thing. And, as long as we have it by the time it goes in as a final priority, that would be the benchmark.
So if you had it by the November 6th time, that would be fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Quick question there.
Yeah, Dick, go ahead.
Freeze's Pond in Deerfield in 107. I think that's already been done. They had to do it in an emergency thing. What will be the effect of them already having done something that's on the 10-year plan?
You're talking about the 107 bridge in Deerfield?
Yes.
Has the full project been done, or was it more of an emergency bridge maintenance project?
I believe they shut it down and did the whole bridge, but I don't know the answer to that question.
I can inquire with Bridge Design on what exactly they did with that project. It's still in the 10-year plan as for reconstruction. So I'll check in on that and advise Dick.
Thank you.
Okay, that was a good round of questions and comments. All right, thank you. Take it away, Monique.
Lovely. So you hear this probably every Zoom meeting, but if I could just get confirmation that you're seeing my PowerPoint, that would be great. Okay, thank you. All right, so today I'm going to be going over providing a brief overview of a reminder, refresher of what the document itself is, and then going through some of the comments that we've gotten throughout the public comment period. At the end, we're really just asking for your support of our comments as we'll be presenting this to MPO, hopefully with their support of these comments in adoption of the plan. So just to dive into what the heart of the public participation plan is, I'm just going to go over the 4 major goals that we established, and then I'll proceed into the comments. So goal 1 is to increase access and engagement opportunities. So the best way that we're hoping to do this is identify partnerships with different agencies. As I've mentioned, people aren't exactly knocking down our door to get information about transportation projects. So it's important for us to reach out and insert ourselves in organizations throughout the region to increase our accessibility to different populations. And that way we're able to engage different groups that we haven't done previously. Our second goal is to improve our visibility and emphasis on early and often notification about throughout the entire planning process of different transportation projects. So to do this, our goal is to create different visualizations that comply with universal design standards so that they are more digestible to the regular public, as a lot of this information can be technical and difficult to digest. And then secondly is to really insert ourselves in communities. In a non-COVID world, we would do that by making sure that we're at local community events and having a presence there to engage folks while they're out there. And in a COVID world, we're really going to have to emphasize our online presence and engage as best we can through those means. Goal number 3 is to increase our communication and broaden it. So really streamlining our media strategies and strengthening different relationships with local media outlets, putting an emphasis on those local papers, websites, blogs, and such that people tend to look at each day. And then 4 is to increase our resourcefulness and compliance. So by strengthening our relationships with stakeholders, checking in with them more frequently, inquiring about what they think our communication level is and if it's appropriate, or if people want to be reached at a different frequency or avenue. And then also, when it comes to compliance, holding ourselves to a standard when it comes to all of these goals, and sticking to performance measures where we can really objectively look at the progress that we're making. So next I'm gonna just go over what the 45-day comment period is and then dive into the comments. So the 45-day comment period for this plan started July 6th and it ends tomorrow. I was the main contact for receiving comments, and I did not receive any others besides comments from a different RPC, and then we had internal comments as well. So there is still one more day. The document can be found on our website if you go to the news and announcements section and you click on the public participation plan public comment period. There's a PDF that you are able to review at the bottom of that. And we are planning to hold a public hearing for the MPO meeting coming up on the 25th. So some of the comments that we received were to incorporate Appendix A and E into the main document. So Appendix A is our existing strategies, which just goes through our different surveying work, the media strategies that we currently have, and all the different efforts that we currently practice and have practiced in the past. And then Appendix E is our performance measures. So we want those to be front and center, as this is a live document that we're hoping to increase our public participation through looking at our past and holding ourselves accountable in the future with performance measures. So the response to this comment is, in all of the comments, is going to be to concur with these comments and edit the document accordingly. We got a comment about noting that the Manchester urbanized area extends outside of our SNHPC region. So we were hoping to incorporate more language about that to clarify and coordinate with Central Planning Commission on projects that extend outside of our region, but is still in the Manchester urbanized area. So we will edit that comment into the document. And another comment we got was to look at the performance measures and make sure that they are quantifiable. And some of them ended up being rather subjective. So it is difficult to hold ourselves to a standard when they are subjective. So just rehash those comments and ensure that they are objective and that we are able to quantify those. And another comment we received was about limited English proficiency, and to ensure that we have adequate resources and a plan to address limited English proficiency populations and ensure that we have the proper resources to accommodate those needs. And then lastly, we received a comment to apply different strategies to the different MPO planning processes. And there's a table on the following slide that does that. So applying the correct strategies to different planning projects in different plans in different orders. So for example, you can see the long range transportation plan. There are suggested strategies that should always be employed, and then strategies that could sometimes be employed depending on how appropriate it is for the project. So those are the comments that we had received. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in now. I can also show you on the website where the document is if you want to squeeze in any comments last minute before it makes it to the MPO. So on our website, you can go to our news and notices section, go to view all because we have quite a bit going on right now. Scroll down to the public participation plan update, and then you'll see all the info about how to get in contact and the MPO meeting. And then at the bottom is the draft public participation plan. So am I hearing any questions from anybody? Alrighty, that sounds like a no. So just to clarify, Nate, are we looking for an action or just support of the comments?
Yeah, I think what we'd be looking for is the TAC to make a recommendation to our MPO for consideration at their August 25th meeting that the TAC endorse and recommend that the MPO adopt the public participation plan with the edits that we've just reviewed resulting from the public comments.
I'll second that motion.
I'm not a TAC member, so I can't make the motion, but that I think Chairwoman Colleen would welcome that motion.
Yep, if someone wants to make that motion, Andrew, if you want to make the motion, I'll look for a second.
All right, I make the motion.
Thank you.
Second from Candy.
Thank you, Dick. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion or any other questions or comments? All right, there being none. Sylvia, can you help us with going through the roll call for a vote on this?
I sure can. Am I muted? No, I'm not. All right, so Bedford, Mark. Candia, Dick.
Aye.
Chester, Andrew.
Aye.
Derry, George.
Aye.
Sit, Bruce.
Aye.
Londonderry, Colleen.
Aye.
Manchester, Jonathan.
Aye.
Ware, Tom.
Aye.
DOT, Linda. Linda, did you say anything?
Yes, I did. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, aye.
Aye, okay, great. And the chambers, Nancy?
Aye.
And DES, Tim?
Yes.
Okay, great. That should do it.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. Thanks.
Then there's me. Actually, I'm a voting member, so I'll have to throw in my, let me think about it. Okay, yeah.
All right. So thank you very much. I guess next we have Nate, you're back up again.
You're muted.
Oh, Nate, you're muted.
I'm muted. All right. Well, we'll see if I can make it work twice. Pulling up a PowerPoint. Let's see. Can everybody see a? No. I'll try this again. Can everybody see a full screen PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
That says Title VI program update. All right.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Good job, Nate.
Thank you very much. So yes, let's dive into our Title VI and environmental justice program update. So as a refresher, our colleagues at New Hampshire DOT advise that our MPO Title VI programs should be updated every 3 years. And Title VI is basically civil rights federal regulations. So when we hear Title VI, we're generally, Title VI means civil rights. So the The Commission's last Title VI program update was in December of 2017, so we're pretty much in line with, you know, our normal timeline for needing to update our Title VI program. And we did receive some recommendations from a recent review of our Title VI program. So all of the FTA recipient agencies in New Hampshire did get a review of their Title VI program. The review was conducted by a consulting firm called RLS and Associates, but they were working on behalf of the DOT Bureau of Rail and Transit. So the consulting firm of RLS, they're experts in Title VI policy and program considerations. So they were hired by New Hampshire DOT to review and advise and provide comments on the Title VI programs around the state, including ours. So we have made some updates to our Title VI program, which we'll walk through in the next few minutes here. We have completed our draft Title VI program. We released it for public comment earlier this week on August 17th. We opened a 30-day public comment period that will run, that will end on September 17th. So during that time period, any comments on the Title VI program are welcomed, and you can submit those to me by email or to the SNHPC in general by regular mail if you have any comments on them. Our MPO will hold a public hearing to consider adoption of the Title VI program at their September 22nd meeting. So today, for you all with our TAC, I'm just going to give an overview today and answer any questions, big, high-level questions you may have. But you'll have another opportunity in September to digest and review the draft program in detail and provide any further comments in September if you have any. So this won't be your only chance to comment on the Title VI program. So what were the recommendations from RLS and Associates? The first was to remove references to age and disability from our Title VI policy statement. So right now, our current Title VI policy statement says that we don't discriminate based on race, color, age, disability, religious creed. Basically, age and disability are not protected classes under Title VI. So they are protected classes under other federal regulations. So for the purpose of a Title VI policy statement, we should stay to the protected classes that are within Title VI, which makes sense. That's not to say that we discriminate for against age and disability. It's just that those are covered under other federal regulations besides Title VI. Add instructions for how to file a complaint directly with the FTA Office of Civil Rights. This was one of their major comments. They wanted to make sure that in every place where we described how people could file a civil rights complaint, that we make sure to advise that people have the option of filing a complaint directly with the FTA Office of Civil Rights. So you'll see throughout the document, we've got the name and address for contacting the FTA Office of Civil Rights directly on our complaint form and our policy statement and all of the key components of the plan. So you'll see that in there now. Updating our demographic profile. So as part of the Title VI program update, we do a demographic analysis of minority populations, limited English proficiency populations, and low-income populations within the region. We have updated that demographic profile with the most recent American Community Survey data, and I'll walk through that in a few minutes. Updating the list of subrecipients that we oversee in a couple of different sections of the Title VI program. We did gain some new subrecipients. So Rockingham Nutrition Meals on Wheels is a new subrecipient of ours under the Section 5310 program. So we did need to make a few updates to our list of subrecipients. And then updating the membership list in Appendix D of the Title VI program. So we have a list of all of our TAC and MPO members in Appendix D. and we needed to make sure that that list was current. So for our demographic profile, Zach Swick in our office, our GIS guru, was instrumental in helping us to crunch some numbers for you know, from the American Community Survey data. So here you see a draft map that shows our long-range plan projects overlaid on top of minority population concentrations in the region. So on this map, the oranges and browns are higher minority concentrations. So overall in the region, minority residents comprise 13% of the population. This average is exceeded in one census tract in the town of Derry, in the northwestern portion of the town of Derry, and 25 census tracts in the city of Manchester, as well as the city of Manchester as a whole. So, you know, basically one of the things that we do is we take a look at where long-range plan projects are programmed in relation to minority population concentrations to see if there is a disproportionate share of benefits or impacts to those minority populations. And in this case, nothing that we've seen suggests that areas with larger minority populations are subject to disproportionate impacts in the region. So this map kind of helps to demonstrate that analysis, and this is included in our Title VI program. Low income population, the same sort of map here and analysis. And if you're wondering why there is a shaded thing in the far western portion of our region, that's because the town of Francistown actually shares a census tract with neighboring municipalities that are outside of our region. So when we're crunching Francistown's numbers, it's not just Francistown. I think it's Bennington and Deerfield and Francistown are all part of the same census tract. So that's why it's shaded there in the far west of the region, just to reflect that Francistown shares a census tract with those other municipalities. So low income population, approximate regional average, 8.5% of the population in the region lives below the poverty line. And this average is exceeded in 4 census tracts in the town of Derry. So basically the western portion of the town of Derry, 1 census tract in the town of Goffstown, and 21 census tracts in the city of Manchester. So we did the same sort of analysis where we overlaid our long-range plan projects on top of our low-income population map of the region to see if there were any areas that were subject to a disproportionate share of benefits or impacts. And we didn't see anything that jumped out at us as low-income populations having a disproportionate share of benefits or impacts from the projects that are in our long-range plan. I think, you know, one of the key issues for us as an organization, as the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission moving forward, is to recognize our limited English proficiency population. And limited English proficiency, there's the definition is, quote, individuals who do not speak English as their primary language and who have a limited ability to read, speak, write, or understand English. Overall in the region, 4.2% of the population is identified as having limited English proficiency. But as I've highlighted in red here, 3,542 people in the region are estimated to be Spanish-speaking persons with limited English proficiency. Because there are 3,542 people that are Spanish LEPs, that puts us in a different threshold, a different category under federal requirements. So anytime that there is a specific LEP population in the region exceeding 1,000 individuals, we must cover our outreach and communication to those individuals, to that population, within what's called a language assistance plan. So this will be something that I'm going to talk with our staff about developing. It's one of the next steps, so to speak, coming out of our Title VI program update. We will need to put together a language assistance plan that focuses on how we interact with a Spanish-speaking LEP population in the region. So that language assistance plan is going to cover, it's very defined what needs to be included in a language assistance plan under FTA regulations. So, but some of the things that we're likely to include in that will be translating key documents, documents of the SNHPC, key planning products and public notices into Spanish as a matter of regular business. As well as retaining a language or translation service to provide accommodations for LEP persons in the region on an as-needed basis. So Monique, in her review of the public participation plan comments, discussed some of the translation services that we will likely be drawing upon in the future. And those will also be reflected in our language assistance plan. So expect to hear more in the coming few months about our language assistance plan and our outreach to the Spanish speaking community in the region.
Hey, this is Paul Maloney. Questions, perfect timing.
Sure.
Do you have a sense of when that plan may be complete?
We're going to be putting it together. My sense is we would probably have a draft put together in the October, November timeframe.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about the Title VI program or kind of next steps? Or I know most of you probably haven't had an opportunity to read through the plan or the program yet, and like I say, you will have an opportunity to provide comments at the September meeting. So this certainly isn't your only opportunity to provide comments. So if you need some time to read and digest it and reach out with questions or comments later, you're welcome to do that.
Going to be a significant financial impact of any of that? The Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission?
There would likely be some financial impact for paying for translation services. So we don't know, part of what we'll need to do in a language assistance plan is to identify what that potential financial impact is. So that will help to be that, we'll do some homework on that and spell that out in the language assistance plan. But yeah, there will be some cost that's incurred. But that cost will largely be reimbursable under some of our existing grant programs because we are required to comply with the requirements of Title VI and the requirements of our FTA circulars. So some of those costs could potentially be reimbursed through some of our existing grant programs.
I'm curious, Nate, I'm wondering if any of the other MPOs are in a similar position. And if so, I wonder if there's, efficiencies there in sharing a consultant or, because we'll all be needing to translate similar documents and, just wondering about that.
Yeah, I can't. It certainly would be worth having that discussion. I suspect Nashua is over that threshold within their MPO region. I can't speak to Rockingham and Stratford, whether or not they're in the same boat, although they may be. But certainly, if there's an opportunity to pool resources for things like translation services, that's something that we should pursue as part of our language assistance plan.
I'm wondering, Dean, if your team, I don't know if Dean is still there, if Central has that.
Dean jumped off.
Okay, yeah. Well, I can put it to the executive directors and see where they're at with this, but, Yeah,
So many of the rural regions, I believe, are generally covered under the state's Title VI program, unless unless they are passing through FTA dollars directly. So it's largely the MPOs that have Title VI programs, not necessarily the rural directors.
Okay.
Or the rural regions. So it probably is more of a conversation for the MPOs, unless there is a particular rural region that is the lead agency for 5310 and therefore is passing through FTA dollars directly. They would have to have a Title VI program, but outside of that, it's probably mostly a conversation with the other MPOs rather than all 9 directors.
Right. And then for the communities, I'm also wondering, we've just heard from Nate and Monique both on, participation from underserved communities. And I'm wondering this whole issue of equity, inclusion, and diversity. If you're in your communities have any partners or agencies that you're working with that you feel like we might invite to, whether it's a TAC or MPO meeting, and really start establishing a partnership with some of these groups that we don't see. I mean, when we look around our little Zoom, aside from the faces we're not seeing, but you can envision them, and this is not what I would call a diverse group. So I just think that's something we have to work at, and part of that is an introduction, just to say hello to groups that we maybe don't typically say hello to. And if you know of a group that we should be including, please let us know. I can see the thinking caps going. So anything we need to actually do here, Nate?
No, this is just kind of an informational overview. Like I say, the TAC will have an opportunity to provide, comments at the September meeting as well. So this isn't like the only time that this subject will come up. For those of you who maybe haven't looked at the program yet or read through it, hopefully you'll be able to take a look at it between now and the September meeting and let us know if you have any questions.
Right.
Hey, Nate, just George from there. Just a comment, maybe thinking for the future, but it may be interesting to see what the new census data will provide in terms of the increase in the minority population, particularly like you showed in Derry and Manchester, knowing, just in my case in Derry, that you have seen some visible changes in the population, particularly in West Derry, which is the older former Milltown neighborhoods that are changing over, and that showed up on the map on West Derry and those census tracts. But it would be interesting to see, once the new information comes out, if the percentage of those minorities, I would assume in some cases, will increase more, and maybe a more diverse population in addition to the Spanish population. Yeah. Just a comment, so you don't need that.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to the next census numbers, because what we're basing this on right now is the best available data we have, which is called American Community Survey data. Now, the American Community Survey is a program, a project, an effort of the Census Bureau, but it is a survey. So there, in some cases, the sample sizes are pretty small, at the census tract level, and they're having to kind of interpolate those in some cases with substantial margins of error. It's a survey. It's a census product, and it's the best we have in between the 10-year decennial surveys. But certainly the 2020 numbers that come out will be the most accurate representation of what's happening in the region through all of these lenses that we will have had since 2010.
I agree. Thank you.
Before everyone heads out, Monique, I wonder. It was a question early on when starting this, if you're still there and available. Maybe not. Adam, are you available by chance?
Yep.
Hey, Sylvia, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question. I think you cut out or I cut out.
Okay, no problem. I was wondering if you might share your screen and just show folks where these PowerPoints are in our, and Adam can do that too, but where they are on our website, because Dick was having a problem finding them. Whether it's these PowerPoints, which may not actually be up on our website yet, or past PowerPoints, but when trying to share them with communities, they're having trouble finding them. So I wondered if you could walk us through that.
So we don't have any PowerPoints that have been put on our website live yet. We're doing some internal work. If you recall, James is going to have us walk through recording some of them. So as far as I know, we don't have the PowerPoints up for these presentations quite yet.
Okay, I thought we did, but Adam, is so we have no PowerPoints up from past meetings? I thought we did put those up.
I don't believe we have yet. That's something I can work on.
All right, so that's, yeah, definitely something we can talk internally about, because I know Dick was wanting to share that. And Dick, will have Linda send you the PowerPoints from today, and if anyone else wants them. So we'll work on that, because as we talked about in our public participation plan, we want to be our websites to be more robust. So yeah, something for us to get on.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Sure.
All right, so it looks like that's it for our agenda today, unless there's any old business or anyone has any other comments or anything to add.
All right.
Nope. Seeing
Thanks.
none, I guess, do we, a motion to adjourn would be, do we need a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Madam Chair. George from Derry.
Hey, George,
Second.
second, Andrew. Do we need a roll call on adjournment, or do we just all wave goodbye?
We wave.
All right, we'll see everybody next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.